I'm joined by Padraig Loughrey, Fianna Fáil candidate in the Longford area. Padraig, you were a newly elected councillor in 2009 for Fianna Fáil.
That's right.
Seeking re-election now for the County Council. What would you say to people were your achievements, or what were the things you felt proudest of over the last term?
Well, I think in relation to Longford County Council, the last 5 years have been particularly difficult for them in relation to the finances that were available to them as a council. But in spite of that, the achievements have been quite significant. For example, the N5 bypass reached fruition in December 2012. It was an investment of in excess of €8 million. And what it effectively achieves for Longford is that it has eliminated heavy goods vehicles through Longford, and also the traffic going through town has been substantially reduced. There's also been a number of other large infrastructural projects that have come to fruition. For example, the St Michael's Road regeneration project. It provided a substantial amount of new housing that had two benefits. Number one was that it improved the appearance of that part of Longford town, but also as Longford County Council and Town Council, in comparison to other county councils, we have a substantial housing waiting list issue, and it would have helped in relation to the problems that we had in conjunction with that. Also, there's a 5-village sewerage scheme that's nearing completion, and all these were major infrastructural projects that were achieved at times of financial constraint. So I think in relation to what Longford County Council has achieved over the last 5 years, I think it is quite exceptional considering what the conditions are at the moment. And
what would you say to your voters is what Padraig Loughrey has brought to that?
Well, what Padraig Loughrey has brought to it is that I've got a lifetime of experience in relation to my business acumen. What I do believe is that I have skills and experiences that are an asset to the council. As I said earlier on, we've had considerable financial constraints that were imposed on the council in the last number of years, and in order to run a business successfully, in particular at the current moment in the times of economic downturn, and to expand as well and continue to employ people, I do believe that I have skills and assets and attributes that are an asset to Longford County Council. So I believe that whoever is elected come May of this year, that whoever is elected is going to have a greater financial responsibility placed on them, because ultimately Longford County Council is the governing body that overlooks all the issues that affect the people of Longford. And I do believe that of the 18 councillors that will be elected, that if I am one of those, that I would be an asset to have on Longford County Council.
You talked there about the financial constraints that are going to be on the council. Clearly, property taxes, there's rates, these are all issues that people are vexed about. They'd like to see lower property taxes, lower rates. But while they might be popular to say electorally, isn't the reality that we need that money in order to maintain the services in Longford?
Well, I'd actually agree with that, Johnny. Longford County Council in particular is funded in 3 different ways. Number 1 is through this local government fund. Number 2 is through rates. And number 3 is through services. So unfortunately, when it comes to rates, seeing as the vacancy rate has been increasing, the revenue from rates has been decreasing. But in relation to Longford County Council, we have understood the troubles that local businesses are facing. And for 4 of the 5 years, we reduced rates by 1% in each of those years. I know that to a lot of business people it might not be enough, or it might seem to be a token effort, but at the same time it was a concerted effort made by Longford County Council and the elected representatives to go and help out the business people as best they can, because ultimately what we realise is that it's the business people through their contribution to rates that provide the essential services that Longford County Council has to go and provide. We've got Longford County Council has got, I believe there's a minimum level standard of service that it should provide, and in relation to the last 5 years we have managed to achieve in excess of that. In relation to the local government fund, in this forthcoming local election, whoever is elected is going to have responsibility in relation to to local property tax. And last year, at the end of last year, Minister Phil Hogan introduced a document called Better Local Government. And the purpose of it was to go and streamline the whole processes that go and affect local government in this country. But effectively what it has done is, as far as I can see, is kind of more a money-raising exercise. But as part of the issues in relation to the Better Local Government policy document that he brought forward was that Longford county councillors, the same as any county councillors in the country, will have the ability, if needs be, to go and increase property charges by 15%. And it is my contention that even though I will be campaigning for property taxes to remain the same, but if it reaches a stage that Longford County Council isn't able to provide the services that it's mandated to do, I believe that whoever is in that position, whoever is elected after May the 23rd, they will have to go and consider the possibility that they may have to increase property taxes. And anyone that says anything different is fooling themselves, because ultimately, whoever is elected to that role, they've got a responsibility to the people of the county to go and deliver a standard of service that they have come to expect. And I believe that I am best suited to go and deliver that service.
Well, people might appreciate the honesty of taking a position like that, but in terms of the services that are available in Longford, and in terms of you yourself, you're a pharmacist, you're involved in the health sector, you've spoken at length about that. Aren't there enormous deficiencies in the area of health, care for the elderly, and things that council can play a part in trying to ease burden and isolation and that, but it's failed to do?
I'd agree with part of what you've said there, Johnny, in that I do believe that councillors and council have a role to play in relation to these services. In particular, we can act as advocates for people that have issues with the healthcare service, because unfortunately not everyone can speak out for themselves, or not everyone knows how to cut through the bureaucratic red tape that can exist in Longford County Council or any other government department. And I think it's our responsibility, whoever's elected, to go and assist the constituents in whatever way possible to go and cut through whatever bureaucratic red tape that may exist at the moment. For example, you mentioned the fact that I was a pharmacist. I have a particular interest in all things health related, and I do believe, in particular, let's say a focus on carers, for instance. Carers, it's a 24/7 job, very stressful and a very demanding role. But I do believe that as a group, them themselves aren't as vocal as other aspects of society, because when a person's looking after a loved one, their only concern primarily is that person, that they look after them as best they can. They would leave the advocating and the policy making for people who are in a position of influence, or people who are opinion makers in their society, to go and help them pursue whatever agenda is in their best interest. I'm of the belief that, in particular when it comes to carers, that they should be adequately remunerated for the work that they do, because it can be said, and it has been proven, that what carers effectively do is that they go and allow a person to live at home in the comfort and dignity of their own home, saving the state substantial amounts of money in the process. And I think if I'm elected as a county councillor, I will ensure that I pursue the rights of carers to the best of my ability, because it's my belief that as a group they're not...
Do you think that's possible to do as a councillor then?
I think it is, because I believe that as a councillor I'm an opinion maker, an opinion former within the local area.
And what would you say to people who will be looking at this now and they're going to say, yeah, that's all very good, sounds nice, it's what we like to do, but you are standing as an election candidate for a party that was largely to blame, if not completely to blame, for the crisis that has enforced cuts on people like carers and the weakest in society, and that, you know, standing for Fianna Fáil is in some ways against everything that a lot of those people feel.
I wouldn't agree with that necessarily, Johnny. I got elected for the first time in 2009 as a Fianna Fáil candidate, and I am privileged to be a Fianna Fáil candidate going forward to face the electorate this time round. I believe that that the principles of the party still predominantly remain the same as they did years ago. I understand that a lot of things have happened, the party vote has imploded, and we have to hold our hands up high and go and accept our blame for that. But I believe that I'm a member of a new breed of Fianna Fáil representative, a new breed of councillor that isn't afflicted by any association with Fianna Fáil of the past or any previous administrations. And if I'm elected, it is my intention to go and serve the people of my constituency to the very best of my ability. I do believe that I have a certain amount of skills that will be of benefit in the county council. In particular, as we spoke about my healthcare background, it allows me to go and engage with people about healthcare issues that they mightn't know how to engage about themselves.
What would you say? I mean, people would say, right, you've had a term at council. You're looking to be returned again for another term. What would you say would be objectives for you in that term? Can you lay before the people clear ideas that you want to achieve, or you think Longford County Council with Padraig Loughrey there can achieve? And what are the markers you come back and say to people, I can have considered this a successful term if I can achieve the following?
Well, number one, what I'd like to say is that within Longford County Council, I think financial regularity is of the utmost importance because, as I said earlier, we're working within the constraints of a reduced budget. Whoever is elected is going to have responsibility in relation to property tax, whether it's raised or whether it's kept the same.
So would you be open for more transparent
I would,
accounts?
yeah. And that's one issue that I would have had in relation to this Better Local Government document that the Minister brought forward, in that it seems to be just an exercise in cost cutting without necessarily giving more say to the councillors that are the democratically elected people to go and represent the people of their own constituency.
Are councillors capable of having more power?
Well, I think they are. If they weren't, I don't think people would put them there. The whole idea about a democratically elected council is that we vote for the people who we think are best placed to go and deliver the services that we expect Longford County Council to do. Now, I'd have full faith in whoever is elected that for the population to have faith in them as public representatives. I think the least we can do is have faith in them ourselves, because it's a very important role.
Do you feel, I haven't had a term there, would you have faith in the system? I mean, county managers, council staff, all the way down. Is there a difficulty between councillors and those at any point?
I wouldn't say that there is a difficulty between relationships between elected representatives and unelected representatives, but I would like to see elected representatives have more say in relation to how the county council conducts its business. For example, there are 4 SPCs, or strategic policy committees, within Longford County Council that devise specific or Longford specific policies to go and positively affect the people of Longford. At times, what I do feel at county council meetings, that there's diktats imposed on the council from national level. The example I'll give in relation to that is, I do believe that Longford County Council should have a more active role in generating its own rates policy for the business people of Longford. Unfortunately, what we're dealing with at the moment is a completely antiquated system that dates back from the 1800s in relation to rates being charged based on square footage. It's my belief that rates should be charged based on profitability, because unfortunately the system as it stands at the moment, it penalises people that need a large amount of space to go and conduct their business. And I believe that Longford County Council should have the ability to go and amend its rate structure, for example, to go and best fit the needs of the people of Longford.
I think you'll probably find you may have many friends on the new council, but best of luck in the local elections.
Thank you,
thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Johnny.